So the next agenda here. So remember, we're going into the staff meeting agenda. So this particular topic is what is called the prepay percentage. So we definitely want to keep track of prepay percentages. And what are the main reasons we want to keep track of prepay percentages? Well, that's going to have the single greatest effect on patient retention. The bottom line is, if patients do not prepay, that you're going to get market forces. And as soon as they start feeling better symptom-wise, so they'll just pay attention to only one biomarker, symptoms. That's it. They won't pay attention to active range of motion, passive range of motion, joint motion, muscle weakness, neurological deficits, point tenderness, fixations. They will not pay attention. They don't know any. Patients don't know to pay attention to any other biomarkers. And so the number one reason we want to do prepays is because it stops dropouts. It stops dropouts significantly and stops the staff from chasing patients. And typically, when doctors don't do prepays, it's like one of the first signs. When I ask a doctor, I say, "Are you doing prepays?" And they say no. I already know they have a high dropout rate, and their staff and their front desk girls chasing patients that they're losing quickly. It can almost always be verified. And what's the number one reason that doctors don't do prepays? It's confrontation. Doctors with low confrontation are the first ones who will not or stop doing prepays. The second one is conviction. If you don't even believe in what you're doing, it's hard to ask for somebody to pay for something if you don't even believe in what you're doing. And then the last one is just being lazy. Sometimes doctors just get lazy. And usually that happens when they're busy. They get busier and busier, and so the busier they get, and it's not as dire of a situation. But that is one of the first statistics that drops out when doctors start getting lazy. Prepays. They stop doing prepays. So that's the importance of evaluating prepays. Now, it's the front desk responsibility. That's who's going to be collecting the prepays. The primary responsibility is the doctor. That's who's really going to determine. It's the doctors at patient education that's going to determine it. But the statistic that we're going to pay attention to is the front desk responsibility. Now, we want to know who prepaid, and if not, why not? Because remember, we're always looking for reasons why something did not happen, because we want to see, is there a policy there? Or is this, we don't have any policy in place, and it's not being trained? Well, you can be guaranteed to have the problem over and over and over if you don't have a policy in place, somebody responsible for it, and trained on it. You're going to just keep getting the same junk. So we're going to look at the cash patients. We're going to look at check, credit cards, and even post-dated checks. So we want to know, what is the status of prepays? Okay, so that is definitely something we want to pay attention to. And the number one reason is patient retention. And you'll find staff members love it when you start doing prepays, especially the front desk person whose primary responsibility is percentage of appointment caps. Well, they stop chasing patients. That is the first staff member that loves it when you do prepays. Because how many people they have to follow up to chase down because they quit care based on symptom care reduces significantly. And they just love prepays because they don't have to keep chasing patients. So that's the basics of prepays. You definitely want to know your prepay percent. And the number one statistic in patient retention to see how skilled you are in patient retention is what is your prepay percent with cash patients only. If you want to see what your real skill level is, and so many doctors think they have a pretty good skill level because they get personal injury patients to stay. Well, it doesn't take much of anything to get a personal injury patient to stay. It's paid, the care is paid for, they're motivated to stay. Okay, so that's really a false perception. It's a false statistic to look at relative to your skill level. If you really want to see your skill level, segment out your cash patients and see how many of them you prepaid. That's going to tell you your real skill level.